Hello, hello, beautiful people. Happy Sunday. Let me just get off Wi-Fi here. How is everyone doing today? It is pretty cold here in Kentucky. It's been pretty consistent all week. I hope it's a little warmer wherever you are. We did get a little sunshine today, but it's still cold, so I'm struggling. Hey, Shama, hello. Thank you for joining me. Happy Sunday to you too. How cold is it where you are? It's in the 20s here, so it's a little better than it was yesterday, but it's still, I'm struggling. I am struggling. I'm not used to this cold. We are supposed to be having an Arctic, some sort of weather pattern that's supposed to be like in the negative 40 degrees. Oh, that's nice. I'll take 40. Yeah. It was supposed to be really, really cold this week, and like in the negative, like -9 or in the teens. So yeah, I went out yesterday and I got feed for the animals, for the horses and the chickens, and I'm just not ready. I hope that they're wrong, because a lot of times this happens. You know, they kind of hype it up. Everyone goes out shopping thinking that it's the end of the world, and it actually turns out to be nothing. But we'll see. I don't know. It's been rough the last few days, though. But glad to hear everyone is well. I am going to start. Today, we're going to be talking about emotional health. And so I wanted to share this quick little poem, again, from my Rumi book of poems. And it's just a very brief one, so I'll share it. It says, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. And I just think that's so beautiful. There's so many powerful emotions that go along with those few words. I wanted to share that with you all because I believe that's what we all are. So I'm going to get right into it. Today, I want to talk about emotional health because I think it's a very important topic that we really haven't expanded on. Being healthy is about much more than just eating right and getting physically fit. It's about our thinking. It's about what we feed our minds, how much work we put into managing our emotions. So I'm always fascinated at how much money and effort as a whole we're willing to invest in our bodies, right? I mean, we sign up to go to the gym, we go on elaborate diets, we lose weight, and then we go on makeover shopping sprees. We may even pay a personal trainer or a coach for us to stay motivated when it comes to staying physically fit. But somehow, when it comes to our emotional health, or our mental fitness, which is another way of saying that, it's always at the bottom of the list. Somehow that doesn't really get that much attention. Even though we may be struggling in our relationships or with the ability to cope with life in general, not being able to love ourselves unconditionally or maybe reach our goals, we keep struggling in these areas, but we do not make the connection. We don't want to acknowledge that our mental fitness or emotional health is connected to the way or our quality of life and the way that we're able to experience life. And a lot of times when you ask people, are you emotionally healthy? What people think you're asking them is, are you happy? And it's not the same. It's not the same at all. So contrary to what many believe, being emotionally healthy has nothing to do with happiness. It's kind of like how people automatically associate being skinny with being healthy. And we know that's not true, right? Just because you're skinny does not automatically mean you are fit or you're healthy. So it's the same way with our mental or emotional health. So it's important for us to know the difference, because I think the belief, that emotional health means happiness causes a lot of confusion. And if we think back to our emotional education, when we were younger, what were we taught? Most of us are taught our circumstances make us happy or sad, right? I mean, when good things happen, we're happy. And when bad things happen, we're sad. When we achieve our goals or go after things in life or acquire things, we're told, well, that's when we'll be happy. And if we don't do those things, then we're sad. And we basically buy into this fairy tale. We'll be happy when we get married, or we'll be happy when we have kids, or we'll be happy when we buy a house. And then it's, we'll be happy when we get that degree or that job or go on that vacation. It goes on and on and on. And the point is that we're programmed to think that our emotional health is conditioned on external events, external things, or external goals. And I know that over the past few weeks, we've talked a great deal about the ability to manage our emotions. If you're watching this for the first time and you haven't seen those lives, I suggest that you go back and watch them while they're still available, because they're really important. We talked a great deal about how our thoughts create our feelings, and how every single decision that we make or every choice that we make is because of an emotion or because of a feeling. And our emotions are basically the reason why we do or don't do anything. We do things because of how we think they're going to make us feel. And we also avoid doing things because of how we think they're going to make us feel, right? So our emotional health or our mental fitness determines everything in our lives. It basically is kind of like what we gauge everything on. So we're not taught this from a young age, though. It's interesting to me, because our children are taught about, when kids are in preschool, they're taught about happy face, sad face, and mad face. That's kind of like the of the emotional education that our kids get. And there's so much more to emotional awareness than that. And now there's two ideas that I want to introduce to you. The concept of emotional adulthood and emotional childhood. I don't know if you've heard that term before, but what I mean is basically, and this is something that it's important, because if you ask anyone if they are an emotional adult in their relationships, you're probably going to get, heck yes, of course I am. But I really want to go into this, because this is really important. When we operate under emotional childhood, think about when you were a kid and your parents or others were responsible for your emotions and your feelings. So if you are now a fully grown adult operating under emotional childhood, this is your modus of operandum. You basically blame others. You blame other people for how you feel, for how you act, or for the results that you get in your life. And I feel this is important to mention, because this is so rampant in our society. Nobody really takes us to emotional college, right? Emotional adulthood college. There's no class offered in high school, middle school, nothing. We basically are left to figure this out on our own. And I think we probably should have this type of education in school, something that teaches us how to become emotional adults. But what we do is we send our kids to school. They're taught calculus, they're taught geometry, they're taught all the scholarly things, right? Sometimes kids in 4th grade come home with homework that's so advanced and so complicated that we as parents can't even figure it out. So they teach them all of that. But then when they turn 18, we throw them out in the world, right? And expect them to be able to have some sort of emotional intelligence, as if by magic. We expect them to just be able to navigate all of the stuff that we're still trying to figure out. And so we really have, as a result of that, we have a world full of adults that are currently operating as emotional children. I mean, imagine if we were taught in middle school or high school Here's how your brain functions, okay? You get to decide what you think, what you feel at any given moment, no matter what anyone else does in your life, you get to choose. Just imagine if for the 14 plus years that our children are in school learning about reading and math, they're also learning about their emotions. How differently do you think the world would be today? How different would we be if we received that when we were younger? How many times have you been at a playground and heard from, maybe you're at a school playground, just a regular playground, and you've watched a parent, you know, when kids are kind of being a little too aggressive with each other. And a little girl hurts another little girl, you know, what do you hear? Hey, Crystal, you know, you're hurting little Ellen's feelings, you know, you need to say you're sorry. Or maybe two boys roughhousing, you know, hey, Johnny, when you do that, Tommy feels sad, don't do that. Now, this is all well intended. I'm not criticizing, but I understand that we mean well. We want our children to be compassionate, right? And we want our children to know that people's feelings do matter. But this is a problem. It's false, because other people are not responsible for how we feel. And it's the most disempowering thing that we can do, not only for our children, you know, when we teach them that, but especially for ourselves as adults. When we teach our children, we teach this to them because they don't really have the capacity, right, to make a distinction. So to them, they basically start believing that they're responsible for other people's feelings, so that other people are responsible for their feelings. And what this does is it carries over into their adult lives. And this is why right now there's so many adults functioning as emotional children. It's so disempowering to keep ourselves in a space of emotional childhood and blame. I mean, just look around, you know, we blame the president, we blame the government, we blame the economy, our boss, our exes, right? If we have issues with, you know, our parents, we blame our mothers, we blame our fathers, our siblings. We blame everyone for our thoughts, for our feelings, for our actions, and why we're getting the results in our life that we're getting. So it's not our fault, it's everyone's fault. Now, I want to just share with you the opposite of emotional childhood. That is emotional adulthood. And we know we're operating under emotional adulthood when we decide to take full responsibility for every single thing that we feel, for every single thought that comes into our head, no matter what someone else does or doesn't do. We understand that no one but us is responsible for our thoughts, okay? For our feelings, for our actions, and our human experience, period. That's what emotional adulthood looks like, okay? And I know that it's a concept that many of us, new to a lot of us, you know, because we're kind of so used to this idea that other people make me feel this way, or you made me angry, or you made me mad, it's your fault. But if we understand that principle that we learned a few weeks back, that we are in control of our thoughts, okay? We have a situation that creates our thoughts. We make that thought in our head. If we allow that situation to fester, we create a feeling or an emotion. And then if we allow that, it goes into action. And then that's what creates our experience. You see, so this is all connected. And this is not a small feat. I'm not even going to pretend that it doesn't take a lot of effort for us to get to emotional adulthood. It takes a tremendous amount of work. But you should want to get there, because let me tell you, it is amazing. When I first started learning how to manage my own emotions, my thoughts, I really, really had to study myself. I had to become a scholar on me, right? I had to learn what made me tick. And what I learned was that other people, again, do not have the ability to hurt my feelings. I want you to think about that. Other people can't cause your feelings at all, because your feelings are created by you. They're created by what's going on here. Okay, they're created by your thoughts. And when I first learned this, I was like, what? I thought other people created or caused my feelings. I thought other things caused my feelings. I thought things just happened. You're telling me my thoughts cause my feelings and I'm 100% in control of my experience? But that's exactly what I'm saying. And I want you to understand that. It was truly overwhelming for me, because what that meant was that I am responsible, okay, for my thoughts, for my feelings. If I am responsible, then I can't blame someone else, right? Do you get that? So this education, or this type of education, you know, that we get when you're young, that, you know, don't hurt Susie's feelings, or Tommy, you're gonna hurt, you know, little Billy's feelings. It's false. It's really setting us up to kind of go along with this thinking that other people are in control of our thoughts or our emotions or our feelings. Okay? And when I finally understood this, guys, it's when I feel like I reached emotional adulthood. With this new awareness that I had about my feelings, I finally understood that not my husband, not my children, not my boss, my mother, no one outside of me. Okay, it's all about Ari. I had to take responsibility. I had to take charge of my emotional life, all of it, even the parts that I wasn't proud of. Other people don't hurt our feelings. Other people can't make us happy. Only you can do that. And that's how you know if you are emotionally healthy. Okay. Now, what do we constantly do? We try to change the people around us. You know, we try to change the people around us that we love. Maybe our partner, maybe our children, anyone in our lives, our brother, sister, our parents. We try to teach them how to behave so that they can make our experience better, so they can make us happy. But they don't behave the way we want them to, right? Why should they? They're their own person. But because they don't behave or they don't meet our expectations, then what happens is we blame them. And of course, none of this works, and it leaves us totally powerless and upset and sad and angry, right? Now, not only are we not in control of our emotions, but now we're blaming the other people around them because we feel that they're causing them. And it just becomes a very vicious and unhealthy cycle. Okay? So then in our minds, we decide these people are not acting right. You know, they don't want to do what I need them to do to make me feel good or make me happy. And here's the thing, even if they did all the things you wanted them to do, they still wouldn't make you happy. Because again, what makes us happy is our own thinking, our own thoughts. So now, how do we react when our child cries? If you're a parent, if you're a mother, right? We automatically, when we hear a baby crying, or we're, you know, if we're a parent and our child fell and you know, hurt its knee, we run, we try to find out what's wrong, and our instinct is just to fix it, right? What's wrong? Are you okay? We want to stop making them sad. We want them not to cry. We want them to feel good. We always want to fix what's making us sad, okay? So that we can be happy, right? Because in our minds, that's what's normal. We should be happy all the time. And I know in the beginning, if you remember, I said that emotional health does not mean being happy. I want you to understand why I said that. So the thing is that if we were happy all the time, just think about this. If you were happy all the time, you wouldn't know that you were happy. Okay? If you were good all the time, hey Liz, if we were good all the time, if you wouldn't know that you were good because you have nothing to compare it to. Do you understand what I mean? You need that duality. You need that balance. Okay, so when we're taught this BS, we grow up feeling like there's something wrong with us. When we're experiencing so-called negative emotion, there's no emotion that's negative. That's why I say so-called, because we're thinking that they're negative. We think, oh, no, here comes sadness or anger. I need to fix that now because I can't be sad. I can't be angry. That's not good. And we've all lived long enough to know that life is beautiful, but it can also have some negative experiences, right? There's comfort and then there's discomfort. There's, it's neither good or bad. It just is. There's balance in life. We have positive experiences and we have negative experiences. So if you think of emotional health, if you think that it means being happy, then your thinking is going to be, oh my gosh, I feel anxious a lot of the time. I feel frustrated. I feel hate. I feel jealousy. I feel scared. What's wrong with me? I need to fix me. Then you go on Facebook, right? And you see everyone is happy all the time, or they seem to be happy all the time. You look at your life and all these people around you, your partner, your kids, everyone, they're all causing you all this negative emotion. Your life is a mess. At least that's what you're thinking. So then you try to get these people around you that are crazy, your family, your kids, your husband, you try to get them to behave in a way that doesn't cause you all this discomfort, all of these uncomfortable emotions, because it's their fault, right? But here's something else that's interesting. Many of us think that there's something wrong with the world and we want to fix it. All you have to do is kind of look I don't watch TV, but if you look, even if you're online and you see that, there's negative headline after negative headline. It's like something awful is always happening in the world. And so sometimes when we're so focused on that, we tend to, no one likes to see kids suffering. No one likes to see bad things happen to good people. If you have a heart, that affects you no matter who you are. So in our minds, we're thinking the world is an awful place. There should be good in the world. Bad things shouldn't happen. And so maybe we decide to take up a cause. We go on a mission to fix the world, to make it kind and happy and peaceful. But the thing is that the world has always been this way, okay? It has never been 100% kind, happy, and peaceful. Never. Okay? No matter what time in history we've lived in. You can go back 500 years. And there's always been really amazing things happening, and there's always been really horrible things happening. You can go from 500 years forward 100 years, and again, really amazing things and really terrible things happening. It's no different today. Today we have a lot of technological advancement. We've eliminated terrible things and replaced it with positive things. But by the same token, some of the old negative things have been filled with new negative things. You see what I mean? So that's just kind of like the cycle of life, the balance of life, okay? In the world and nature and life, that duality is necessary. It's a necessary part of the cycle of life. And what I find is that when you accept that there's going to be some parts of life, even our life, that's going to have maybe negative emotion and positive emotion, then it makes it kind of easier to keep in perspective the fact that sometimes great things are going to happen and sometimes not so great things are going to happen. And so we're not so focused on just the negative. Okay? When I make them so awful and so negative, or the thought, of these things happening in the world, what it does is if I'm pushing them away and resisting them, no, I don't want that to happen, that's just awful, then they're magnified in my subconscious and they become worse than they actually are. But if we kind of just acknowledge them and say, this is part of life, this is what it is, whether we like it or not, that becomes a little easier for us to keep it in perspective and also focus or put our focus more on the positive instead of just focusing on the negative parts, if you know what I mean. Let me just see, am I missing any comments here? Right? And if I said to you, I will grant you one wish. I'm going to grant you the wish of being happy all the time. What would you say? Would you accept that? Would you want to be happy all the time? Just happy all the time? I'm going to let y'all comment. Sounds tempting, right? We get to be happy all the time, smiling, joyful. But what I want you to consider is that if you said yes, then you would also have to be happy when horrible things happen in your life or in the world or in the life of someone that you care about. You would have to be happy when people die, when people you care about are hurt, when all the terrible things happen in the world. You would have to be happy all of the time. Now, what does that sound like? Is that something that you would want to experience? It sounded appealing in the beginning, but when you put it in that context, it kind of makes you realize, I know for me, I'd rather be human, right? I'd rather not be happy all the time and still experience all that range of emotions, you know, whether it be pain or sadness, joy, fear, all of it. Personally, I would want that duality in my life, because I think when we're able to experience all that, we can appreciate the beauty of life even more, the positive emotions even more, when we allow ourselves to kind of go through that roller coaster. But if we think that the goal in life is to be happy, then when we are stressed or frustrated or even overwhelmed, we're going to automatically think that any of those negative emotions are going to need to be fixed, right? Because that's what we've been taught. So when we have a negative emotion, look for an external way to fix it somehow. Something to drink, something to eat, something destructive to do to get our minds off it. Anything that will solve that internal crisis or that negative emotion. Anything to distract us from feeling it. Remember, we talked about that a few weeks ago. And that's what buffering is. You know, buffering is basically when you use drugs, food, maybe porn. We try to solve our internal emotional problems with external things. And that never works. Because our negative emotions, they don't need to be solved, right? You can't solve an internal issue with something external. They just need to be accepted. They need to be experienced and processed. And when you resist these emotions or you avoid them, then that's when things go south and they turn badly. So it's really ineffective because our happiness is not dependent on these things. Okay? Your joy, your happiness, your positive attitude doesn't come from your partner, or from your children, or from your job, your boss, your coworkers. It comes from you. You create them. And there's so much power in realizing that. To me, there's so much freedom in that. You know, knowing that no matter what is happening around you, no matter what is happening in your marriage, at your job, with your kids, in your family, you get to decide how you feel. You get to decide. Knowing that if you are responsible for your own emotions, then the words and actions of another person cannot make you feel any type of way. Knowing that you always get to choose. And when you're able to experience that, that's when you know that you are emotionally healthy. Okay? And if you haven't noticed by now, all of these topics that we have been Right? There wouldn't be room for growth. Yes. I'm sorry, guys. I don't see the comments as they come up for some reason. Yeah, there wouldn't be any room for growth. Life would be very boring. Exactly, Shama. Exactly. I feel the same way. All of these topics that we've been covering lately really build upon each other. They're all connected. Emotional management is it's the ability to manage your emotions so that you can, it's the foundation of everything that you want to experience in life. And if you're not able to manage your emotions, then you're going to have troubles in relationships. You're going to have troubles with your self-esteem, self-awareness, your mindset. That is truly the foundation of everything. Once you understand that you create your thoughts and therefore your feelings and then your actions and then your experience, this is the foundation of being truly emotionally healthy. And that is really the secret. Okay? That is really the secret. If you want to get healthy and you want to have a better quality of life, then you need to master your emotions. So that is all I have for you beautiful people today. Okay? If you feel that this brought value to your life, please invite someone you know that would benefit from our discussion to our group. And if you feel that this area of your growth is something that you'd like to get under control, but you don't know how to get there, please reach out to me. I would love to be able to support you on this journey. And there's so much more to this than what I'm able to share here. I try to bring these topics to you every Sunday, but because of time constraints, I'm limited to what I can share with you. But I invite you to take advantage of my free discovery session, which I mentioned last week. If you want to chat, we can chat on the phone or we can chat on Zoom. I'll give you 1 hour of my time and we can talk about anything that you want to explore, any area of your life that you feel you need support in. So yeah, let me know if you'll have any questions. And that's all I have. I'm going to go and make dinner for my family. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a wonderful, wonderful week, okay? Please continue to take care of yourself physically and mentally. So important. I love you all. Mwah. Have a good night, okay?